undesirables.
Undesirables.
I'm the friendly tyrant robot.
My vision's blurry and memory is anywhere near clear. I don't know who you are, but I got a couple questions. Fuck, you're out of luck.
So this is the Wheel Podcast, somewhere around episode 27. Okay. Somewhere in the later 20s.
I'm just getting pissed.
Like I like my women?
Yeah.
Right.
Somewhere.
Well, I've been feeling disconnected.
I'm here with Chris Hollander. Is that how you pronounce that?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's becoming clear they say I'm crazy a lot. So I just do my job, whether they pay me or not. And I build, level, adapt, create,
Yeah, that hook.
Yeah.
That's
It really tells you what it
remember
wants right there. There's no mistaking it. I just always imagine like playing with some Legos. Listen to that, just like
Yeah.
the funny thing is the first word was not supposed to be build. It wasn't written as build. It was written as kill. Level, adapt, create, in the sense of like grinding on a video game sort of thing. Like kill, then you level up, adapt by picking a new trait, then you create thing. But build ended up working even better because it wasn't like the sort of sense of it wasn't trying to destroy, it was trying just to create in its own way. It wasn't trying to kind of like Andrew Ryan wasn't trying to destroy society, he was trying to build his own. And he destroyed individuals in that society, but he didn't go and destroy other societies. I don't want to read too much into it. It's four words.
Yeah.
It's not a manifesto, you know.
Yeah, that's always cool with writing in general though. If you're doing it right, if you're arguing with someone the difference over build or kill.
Right.
And song.
Well, and we both knew because Brennan, who's the other guy, he's Soup Kid and now Lord. He's the one that did that part, and we both knew what it was supposed to be, and so we had the discussion after it was done. Do we fix it? And that song was made in one day, the beat and lyrics written in one day.
Really?
Because it was aired the next day on a podcast. Guys, we were working in England. So literally that song was created for that podcast to be played the next day. They're like, come on tomorrow. We're like, we don't want to play any of our old shit, so let's just write a new thing right now. And it ended up, the song came out in 2012. So, you know, it's on the first album completely. And it's become one of the more popular ones, sure. Definitely had a life of its own.
That's really weird how that can work out. Did you guys take it back into the studio and do some more production on it afterwards?
God, those are words that are blasphemy. Like I have to force him to, you know, correct real errors that like volume too high sort of thing. We'll do like maybe one sound checks in our headsets and on my little studio monitor, and it's out the next day. And no, I think and he has a real philosophy, and I kind of subscribe to this too. And I think we were reading like Twitter posts from Diplo or some shit like that where he posted about not letting the inspiration of a song like die by overworking on it too long. And I take a lot of influence from guys that used to write songs 2 in a day, and they're like the 50s rock band sort of thing where you think that sucker out melodies that are pretty interchangeable with other songs, get some generic ass lyrics, and you've got an album. And the rest of the time you're out there fucking to. But I like the idea of being able to create something that you can latch on quickly. You fight over all the time, and that's probably something I would take with me, I think, if I ever want.
Yeah, I remember hearing a quote from the had Pro Tool when they were making music. They would have never finished it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they were struggling with limitations of what they had recording then.
Right.
Like, well, do we do this part 800 more times?
Right.
Or do we just put this thing out?
Yeah.
You know, and it's still recognized as amazing production.
Right, it's high
Mhm.
production value, absolutely. And any producer engineer is going to make you punch in a couple times on a
Mhm.
song now, and that's not something that you could do with reel to
Yeah,
reel
yeah.
at all. And that's 100% the standard now. There's not a single. I'd imagine there's probably some experimental specifically designed not to do that, but
Mhm.
otherwise you're doing it.
Yeah. I remember someone told me once when I was playing music, they're like, a gig is worth 12 practices in experience, and a day in the studio is worth 12 gigs.
Okay.
And like how much you can learn. And I experienced that when I went into Sunshine Studio. And when I went in there, first thing I recorded, this first track had an acoustic guitar in it, and
Okay.
I laid it down, and it was perfect the whole way through. And I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be pretty easy. Cut to a half hour later, I'm with my guitar, and they're like, that one note bent, do the whole thing over. Like just sweating and nervous and trying not to fuck up so hard. But yeah, I must have gained about a year in experience over the course of 2 weeks in a professional studio, really trying to um, fix everything and get it exactly right.
Right.
You
Now,
know,
did you go into that situation having everything wrote and ready to go, or were you also being creative process finish things or
yeah.
starting?
Well, we were doing creative processes because we had not much for the road, but we'd been around Colorado, and so all that music had been live. We had a few demos, but when you go into the studio that way, as opposed to starting recording, you have all these bad habits and mistakes in the song that most people don't notice. That one note is flat, and put the whole thing tape. They just all show so hard.
Right.
So we had all the songs written except for one. We had all the songs written when we went in the studio. Just mistakes were there, and we had to out of it. So there
Okay.
was a lot of creative process there.
Fixing issues,
Mm-hmm.
trying to act this
Adding
whatever
apart,
notes you're
taking away
playing.
apart.
Right.
I remember one of the biggest problems we had was bassist chord inversions.
Okay.
Not really.
I don't.
Yeah. So it
Maybe I
would
should
kind
play
of
bass.
be, yeah, it would kind of be if you have a chord, it's the bass note of that chord. If I'm playing a chord on guitar, um, there's a couple different notes that will also change the sound and feeling of that chord. You add a bass note. Um, so it left it completely. I would give him a bass part, but then often do it. He would change a lot of those inversions. So by the time we got to studio, our producer was like, all these inversions suck. You picked like all the wrong ones. None of these progressions on bass sound right for the chord.
I
We
think you
had to
would have fucked
rewrite.
it up right at least. You're looking
Yeah.
at blind
Yeah.
dates.
But it was just his ear. He thought that always sound better, even though. Right. And those are
Sure.
some of the, choices. Studio. Do you want it to sound correct, or do you want it to sound a little fucked up?
Well, this isn't the 80s. It's supposed to sound bad.
You can adjust that where that.
Blue robot dick is trying to be in my face here. Yeah, no, that's. Did you what are your thoughts on the album now? Like, do you when you listen to it, do you hear the spots that you still didn't perfect? Do you like are you at the point
um,
where those come over and you get a whole sense of the project, or like how does that studio time translate to how you feel now about
uh, I do like the way it sounds, and I don't hear any mistakes. There might have been some changes I would have made now, but they're very small and kind of.
it?
The biggest thing I learned from that was I spent a year writing all these songs and making sure they were perfect to me and like agonizing over words. I spent a lot of time writing these,
So
and
you
then
were
we would
writing the
perform.
lyrics too.
Yeah, yeah. I wrote everything. I had a singer, but I played rhythm guitar,
Okay.
but I wrote everything. And spending that much time, like making it just a darling yours,
Sure.
trying to make it perfect, every little thing. And, but we went into the studio and we picked 4 songs. recorded the first three, we realized our fourth wasn't quite done or didn't fit with the rest of them the way we wanted to.
Sure. Yeah.
And the other guitarist was having a hard time playing the part I had written.
Okay.
So it was a little advanced for him. So we decided to scrap that one for the recording the EP. Found out none of the other songs we had quite fit, especially to cap it off at the end of it.
Okay.
So we wrote a song one day studio between me and the singer, and like I scribbled out a bunch of lyrics on a napkin.
Okay.
And to me, it sounds like a hodgepodge of three different songs, like a Wings song. You know, like this is a chorus for a totally different song than this verse comes out. There's like multiple stories going on because none of them really correlate. It's like a good chorus and a good verse, but they have nothing to do with each other.
That makes a whole lot of sense. I can relate to that a whole bunch. I think it's one of the most wordy musics is definitely hip. You're throwing so many words out, and the writing can get to the point, especially if you're rapping fast, which I don't always. But I mean, you're getting to paragraphs and paragraphs by the end of this thing, and I like to focus. I write a lot of the hooks with help. Like I try to focus on the pared down, catchier things, but on some of these verses, they get really, really convoluted, and we also kind of try to go into the abstract sort of things. So when I'm talking about like tortoiseshell glasses, pockets full of stock ticker tape, we kind of get lost along the way. But if it all comes together as a whole, it'll make a little bit more sense if you do like a theme, and then having something that's real catchy and succinct. The hook trying to match into that theme is the goal, of course. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to interpretation, and people are going to make their own ideas about what's going on. Like Metropolis, the song that you played while we were doing this, it wasn't necessarily supposed to be about a specific sort of situation. It was supposed to be a little bit open, but it's a little, it's pretty clear that there's two people and one's in the patient sort of subset, but it's also not clear that, it could be a prison warden. It doesn't have to be a doctor. It's, there's a lot of the details that can be up to interpretation. And then, of course, the chorus being 4 words of build, level, adapt, create. That might not really play into your idea of a doctor-patient relationship. So, I think it would make sense to me, especially lyrically. I could see why instrumental. I think lyrically, it's going to be up to the interpretation of your listener, which is you often. You often are your own listener. I play my own music more than anybody else probably does.
Well, I've heard that argument that some people, you listening to your own music and like, well, I wrote it for me.
Right.
I wrote a bunch of songs that are exactly all the things I like.
Right.
So why wouldn't I enjoy it? But yeah, I have same thing now where I don't play music anymore because I focus so much on stand-up.
Right.
But I have Fruity Loops on my computer.
You're focused on killing it, man. 27.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. 15 weeks.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot, but music is kind of a hobby, and I want to go back to it at some point.
Sure.
But for right now, I just have the Fruity Loops basic program you can just plug in quickly.
Right. Steal loops off the internet and just make sounds.
Well, I don't even do that. I just use all the synthesizers and pianos to get a song idea out, and really like a puzzle trying to make all the elements fit together.
Definitely a puzzle.
But that's I'll just play that puzzle like occasionally whenever I'm bored.
I mean, I've grappled with the idea of should I try to make music my 100% all time, this is what I'm doing right now sort of thing. And I feel like music's definitely not that for most musicians. And most good musicians, it's probably not that either. I mean, look at Maynard James Keenan, which I'm not saying I'm anything like, but he's got a winery in New Mexico or Arizona or some shit, and got 4 different bands that he doesn't give a shit about any of them. He doesn't want to tour with Tool. He fucking doesn't. But but he's one of the most known musicians around. So
I think that's part of it for Like Lady Gaga never made money on her albums. She made money on wearing designer shoes in her
Right.
music videos.
It was listenable pop music for
Mhm.
people that are willing to listen to music for fun and not think about it. And she's also wearing designer clothes and
Mhm.
showing cleavage. And wasn't there a thing about Lady Gaga whether she was or wasn't a man chick? Was that do I remember? Do I have like that Mandela effect going on that I'm the only one that remembers that there was the question about whether she was the transvestite sort of situation going on? I feel like I might be remembering the late 2000s
Yeah.
wrong with that case.
I don't remember that for Lady Gaga. I remember that for Sierra.
Sierra.
I was in
Shit, I don't
high
remember
school.
Sierra, so you got one above me there.
Yeah, no problem.
And don't get me wrong, I am a sucker for the 2000s and even late 90s like chick R&B type stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I grew up on.
Definitely good stuff. The grind with the chick music, it's fantastic. You know. But yeah, I can't we're hearing the names here now. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh.
gentlemen.
Oh.
Is it Jazzy Production?
Remember when Shizzle was cool?
Shizzle.
Yeah, you remember that.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. Trying to watch the video, man. I was having fun. That was a good one.
Yeah, I remember that about someone saying that about her, but remember that with like plenty of weird stuff.
Okay. Well, you know,
Go ahead,
maybe we got our transvestite versions of pop stars mixed up there.
Yeah.
I mean, have you heard the new Naughty by Nature song? I think they're putting out an album soon. Or it's dang it, now I'm not gonna remember it, but it's that same era, maybe a little bit earlier era. They're all like grown bad chicks now, and it's kind of interesting. It's a total different tone, and it's really good. It's really nice to listen to, and the video is interesting. And it still has that kind of that perky, peppy, like preppy feel. But it's definitely aged for sure.
Bad bitch.
But I also take care of shit.
Yeah. I go to the pharmacy to get my medications for my thyroid.
A good Saturday nights at the farmer's market. It's got some good shit there, man.
No one can handle my thrift. Yeah, exactly.
So you said that studio time was really useful as far as the experience as a musician, probably as a band too, growing as a band. I started in like that was a lot of rappers start freestyling with their buddies, and I did that eventually. Mostly, I started by buying a kit, and just kind of was around mostly rock bands. I was doing like video project bands, major, and got into the audio portion of it, and eventually got a Pro Tools kit, and the quickest way, and then turned why not, right? And the quickest way for me to start doing music was plugging that thing in, and just trying to. I enjoyed writing that kind of stuff, so I just tried to turn music, and it took a really long time to come up with a way of making it sound more than just a speech or something. And getting away from a bunch of awkward ticks, and I'm still, of course, not there, but 99% of my experience has been videos. I've done shows ever, and I've done a few like live stuff online, but it's not really the sort of same idea,
right?
But things you learn in the studio is how to back yourself, how you sound, so you can back yourself. And for me, it's 100% vocal work. And so I try different things. I haven't gotten into the, unfortunately for me, because I think everybody would fucking hate it if I got into the T-Pain sort of auto-tuning on the voice. I've messed around in other dudes' studios doing that kind of stuff, but I've never really gotten results that I like. But
I think you really have to come across with the shallow topic banger in order for that to work.
Look, if I could write that kind of song, I fucking would.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want
Oh
a
yeah.
club banger that people? The way I see it, if they're having fun, that's the right way to go about it. You know, for your listeners. But what I learned with Metropolis too was people started asking for lyrics, and they were kind of getting interested in what we were saying, which was really cool. And I really, you know, quickly put that up on Genius so people could kind of explore that in a way. Like, yeah, I remember reading, going real early on, reading like Eminem lyrics and stuff, and I don't remember any of them.
Yeah.
I barely remember my own lyrics, but it's nice to kind of see what you're really saying, because I think I'm, but other people are going to see and hear different things when they read it. So that was really interesting. You don't get that from make your body hit the flow.
Yeah.
Hit the flow. Oh, you know. Hit the flow. There's a hook right there. T-Pain did that, you're done.
Yeah.
T-Pain Sierra.
My experience was always I couldn't remember any of my lyrics ever.
Yeah.
Unless someone gave me the first line. If I could remember the first line, I could remember the rest of the song. Just like a muscle memory thing.
Right.
Like I know what part comes next, but I don't know what they are if you just ask me to start second verse or something.
Like you're choking real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like before would ever go up on stage, I would run around and like shake my band members and be like, "What's the first line of it?" I don't remember.
Have a little mini freak out.
Yeah.
Now, do you get that way? Because you said you played rhythm guitar, right?
Did
you ever get that way in the guitar where you're like, all right, we're gonna take it from the top, verse 2, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is it the same way with that kind of?
Yeah, similar. Depends on how many songs you. Depends on how many songs you have. If you've been playing for a while and you get past 10, start to blend together. And I don't know how it is for you and your production, but you'll fall into habits of similar writing styles. Sure. So if two songs start with the same chord or something, it can be. I've done that before where I'll start playing one song after I told everyone we'll play a different one.
Okay.
Because just the muscle memory took over and both songs start with that same chord.
It's supposed to be this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you put down the guitar and take up the clown hat and the big shoes and shit?
Yeah, the pinwheel beanie. Yeah, I was playing music and I moved to Denver and we did a show at Fairway Lounge. That was like it quickly became the fastest behind the music story ever. Where we had played some shows, we laid down an EP, and our first show in Denver, a girl came up after it was like, "Hey, you guys want to try drugs?" And then like the whole band disappeared. I
shit.
Locked myself in my apartment for 2 months. My singer was completely AWOL. Someone found him at a sorority like 4 months later, hadn't contacted his family.
Worst things could happen.
Yeah, the bassist went and got a job as a vet. Like he didn't want to wait anymore. But it was like 2 days. He was like, "When's the next practice?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "All right, I'm gonna go be a vet." Another guy just up and moved to South Carolina or something, West Virginia. I can't remember.
It doesn't matter.
Like I called him and I was like, "Hey, we might get a thing going again." And he was like, "Oh, I married this chick and I moved to South Carolina."
Bro, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah. I was like, "When'd you do this?" He was like, "Yesterday." It's like, "Well, cool, bye."
So what would have happened if that demo just, the engineer shopped it to somebody and Sony comes knocking, you're like, 100 million deal. You're like, well, dude's a vet now.
I would have.
And he's married and he's not into it. And this guy's lost. I've already called the FBI. I don't even know.
Yeah, I would have just put a whole new project together under the same name, taking new musicians, but reality of that and what happened. And like I was not with them, but I was in my own. Like I also started doing blow and in my apartment. And what I didn't realize at the time was like I had bipolar and some serious mental illness.
Oh, that'll show up.
Which had shown up when I was 14, but became very severe when I was right around 20 when this whole thing happened.
That's when that kind of stuff usually pops up, right? When the early adulthood
is when it really
Okay.
But so it was a very weird time also to be taken on a project and working on it, even with the same name and everything from the ground up. But I remember the singer was AWOL and couldn't get a hold of the guitarist. Got an email from called Redline, something that wanted to do a full album
Uh-huh.
with them. So like we had talks for an album deal, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know if it's. I just turned on X Files on Netflix and wrapped myself in a blanket and did
Sure.
that for a couple months and just let it. So it's weird what could have been had it
Well, that
not been
clearly
such a clusterfuck immediately.
that couldn't have happened. That couldn't have happened.
That couldn't have
If
happened.
that happened
then.
a month into trying for the album, that's
Yeah.
that's a shit lost opportunity.
Mhm.
The other one was just, hey, you did this part of that good. No shot at the next part though.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with dealing with multiple people. Like when Brennan and I have reached out to multiple people to work on projects like Cousins. We just find their music and say, it was dope. Do dope shit for me, or spit a verse on this, right? And we've hit maybe 3 or 4 lucky breaks with and gotten some people to do some really cool stuff. 9 times out of 10 they don't, they say yeah, nothing happens from it.
Yeah.
Like, you know how hard it is to just spit some bars, man, on your Xbox mic if you got to, like, try something. We have a guy Zeely on the new album who's from Africa. He was in Zimbabwe at the time. South Africa. Dude would literally walk to the recording studio once a week and like miles and miles. And it wasn't poverty as they see it, but it's definitely poverty as we see it. He talks about it. Some pretty real struggles, and dude's in there killing bars on the sort of level that, on a kind of level that I can't even get to necessarily, because he's really reaching to some shit that's some really deep shit, and he's got some pretty cool lines about talking about killing people for votes and shit. He gets not too political, but just a little more reality. And yeah, he can handle that, and he's walking 3 hours to the studio once a week, and he's got people to take care of and shit. But some dude in Portland's too fucking lazy to record 6 sentences.
I gotta read this BuzzFeed list on celebrities with big titties.
Well, he just wants to think he's a rapper.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to rap. So it's unfortunate that that happens, but I guess I should see it more like a rock band would, in the sense of these guys just weren't ready to play. They didn't want to play right now, but they had obviously done really good on your EP. So there's, not to denigrate that was good.
And I think we were a good band, and they really loved music, but all of us were too young to have found out how we felt about new experiences. We were living with our parents when we started band in high school, and then went through 20. So it was till I was 20. I was the oldest member. So most of the band parents at the time. So it's a moment when everyone like branches off to a new life. But at that age, you don't know where you're going. You don't know. Like I remember the first time I had the thought, "She's too young for me." was a weird like moment of growth for me. I was like 21.
Wow.
And I was hitting on this chick who was a waitress, and it was working, and then she said something and walked off. And I did the math, like, oh, she remembers that from blah blah blah, and oh, so she's 18 is what I figured out. And I had that thought, she's too young for me. Now I was like, that's the first time I've thought that.
Wow.
And it was like a gap of 4 years, but it, like, which isn't that big of a gap in the scheme of things.
Not at that level.
But at that level, like, the things that I had done between 18 and 21 are like, oh wow, so I have had a band, done well, recorded an EP, had it fall apart, got addicted to coke, left college, blah blah, walked around Denver arguing with statues, did a year full of acid, and then got sober
That's
in that time period.
That's a lot of living.
That's a lot of living. Why would I want to
Right.
start that process over for the person I'm dating?
Sure.
Start right back at the beginning and do it all over. It's
Sure.
just too
Well,
too important a span of time.
The maturity age too, you know. It's like going back to that innocence time. I think before I discovered, I think ecstasy was probably the drug that started taking me down, because I had done like marijuana and hallucinogens
It's
way
weird what will
early,
get you. Yeah.
but the ecstasy started getting into my weird kind of manic sort of stuff. And I've never been diagnosed, but I, I didn't react to some drugs really well. And when you do a fuck ton of some drugs, fucked up.
Yeah.
And if you do them a lot, you get really fucked up. You don't know how to enjoy them, because I can enjoy a drug like that now, or I won't do it. You know?
Yeah.
I know whether it's going to be a good time or not, at least to a 90% surety.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Yeah.
but that's not something you have when you're 18.
No.
At all.
You don't have that experience. Oh.
Cool if I go grab another beer?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll be right back, man. I'm sorry.
You're all good. I'll just play some.
I can't see nothing. Gotta open my eye. Come here, miss. I don't want to do it. Well, come here. Can't even get his gloves up to protect my
Well, I don't really know a lot about rap. Grew up with my mother listening to rap of the 90s, Missy Elliott. Say what? Oh. You walk through the green room. You walk through the green room.
Baby, tell me if you like it. It's me and you now. I've been waiting. Think I want to move now. Please tell me. Next selection. Bad boy. You've been waiting so long. I'm here to answer your call. I know that I shouldn't have had you waiting at all. I've been so busy, but I've been thinking about what I wanna do with you. I know them other guys, they've been talking about the way I do what I do. They heard I was good, they wanna see if it's true. They know you're the one I wanna give it to. I can see you want me too. Now it's me and you. Now I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it.
The great thing about this soundboard I'm really enjoying is you just click on something and let it play, and you can run out for a cigarette if you really need one. Just, you couldn't do a break before.
I know what to do if only you would let me. As long as you're cool with it, I'll treat you right. Here is where you.
Yeah, this stuff always reminds me. I grew up with, my father was really Rush and progressive rock.
No Perks of God, bro.
Hell yeah. But my mother was really into the 90s.
Okay.
So I grew up with that duality between the two of always listening to like Mariah Carey and DLC or TLC,
sure.
Destiny's Child, and then Rush.
Yeah, that's a hell of a
on.
Difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dad had the younger taste in music when he was into like 70s progressive rock, Pink Floyd type shit.
Yeah.
Mom was into doo-wop and fucking, like Arlo Guthrie type folk music. My parents are really old, so I didn't have a whole lot of youth culture. They had me when they're near 40.
Huh. So, where were you born?
I was born in San Jose, but I grew up in Fort Collins.
Oh, okay. Where's San Jose? Is that Texas?
It's south of several, not Costa Rica. It's south of San Francisco. It's Silicon Valley, basically. Palo Alto.
And you came to Fort Collins when?
About 5, I think. So
5.
I don't really remember California at all. Grew up there, and I moved like 1 year after college to shitty little shitty little college. 1 year after high school, I mean, and got kicked out of my first college. Just smoking weed. It was a private little school, man. Smoking weed all day, skateboarding, not going to class, getting A's in like one class and then F's and everything. Eventually got in some legal trouble, which I've gotten in plenty of legal trouble over stupid fucking weed, believe it or not. I even had some possession tickets in Colorado when I was a kid.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, and
It's so weird to say in Colorado now.
Yeah, tell your '90s kid if you have a MIP or a fucking possession ticket in the state.
Yeah,
because it wasn't legal for a while there. We were going to all the protests. I don't know. Did you grow up in the area here? Or?
No. I moved here in like sophomore year of high school.
Okay. Were you much of a partier in high school?
No, not really.
No.
More so in college, but it was quick descent from like I was at 2 parties and then I ended up in like heroin den. Like a bunch of junkies sitting around on a floor with no furniture.
That'll happen.
It's like, wow, that was quick. I thought I was going to enjoy some more parties.
I think you're at breakfast in Tiffany's and then you're just that's way too old. Yeah, for sure, man.
So let's go back to so you're living in Fort Collins at 5 at your parents are listening to that music.
Yeah.
You hip hop and move into that.
I didn't get into hip hop until my early teens, maybe even later teens, 14, 15. It was really bands like Atmosphere that I really started getting into. And then, of course, obligatory Cottonmouth Kings type. And I had, Chronic 2001 is still probably one of my favorite albums. So I would listen to the more pop rap, but I never really got into the point where I'm only listening to rap or I listen until I started discovering people like Sage Francis.
Aesop Rock has been a long-time favorite of mine.
He's more of a favorite now for me than he was then because Suka Tooth and Labor Days, really great albums, but I think his newer stuff is I even enjoy it more, I guess you could say. So I don't have any enjoy it more now. Somebody I don't enjoy anymore now is definitely Sage, but he kind of after Life he hasn't really done much that I know of with music. I think
I'll still bump Civil Discipline as much as I
sick of civil. I always cyclically cynical. I don't know the words. Escape Artist is the hook that I use to work on my speed. It's the never to make more see what I found in my life. I decided to give him a look. None of them give him a glimpse. Try to get some sit in the middle of an unread book. Letters are falling apart, but the sense of sound of the word and the word is permanent. What did you miss? I would work on that.
That's great
for my speed, and that's great. And Greaves grew up. I never met him, but I know some of the bands that he worked with in Fort Collins as well, and he's on the Rhymesayers label now. He's a little bit more of like a soul rapper type thing, not as much of kind of rap like the Aesops or the Sage, but definitely listenable too. I enjoyed that stuff, his early stuff like Lightspeed and some of his earlier songs too. He filmed them in theaters that I'd actually performed in.
Oh, nice.
Not the Aggie Theater, the Rialto Theater in Loveland. I had done like actual productions there, and he filmed the Lightspeed video there. So stuff like that, I would say mid to early teens, kind of. Listen to a lot of like 311 and Sublime, shit like that.
Just because it was the 90s.
It had to be. You had to come original and listen to the same shit everybody was listening to.
Okay, so you're a fan of music. You're skating at the time a lot.
Yeah.
That was big for you?
Yeah, I would skip school half the day and go skate and fucking come back to school half the day and then leave school again and go skate. While I was doing decent, not great, but while I was getting by, skated every day up until probably about 20.
Okay.
Never got great at it, but I could do some cool stuff.
So when did the drugs and trouble come in?
When I started my DJing phase. So I started getting into like the rave scene and electronica DJing. I think I did my first one when I was like 17 or 18, and I definitely went the route where I was doing the drugs with it and getting these like grandiose ideas about what it would mean to be a rave DJ of all fucking things. Like, oh, now I'm awesome because I DJ'd this rave. Like definitely in it for the 100% wrong reason. And don't get me wrong, I like the music. But yeah, I was 100%, and the drugs would fuel this just delusional bullshit about what that would mean. So it wasn't.
So was that around 20 when you?
Yeah, no, that was right before I was leaving. So like my senior year in high school, 18. Started delving deep into those, and then after that 6, 7, 8 month period of being by myself and smoking weed, coming back and being around bad influences and
Just
being a bad influence to other people. Yeah.
So when was you can also adjust that to where you're.
Yeah, no, okay.
So when, like, did you go to a rave with someone and we're just like, this is gonna be my thing?
Oh, I remember the first night I took ecstasy at an underground rave, like perfectly. I had driven. We pulled up. It was in the bottom floor of like a 20-story tower in Denver. Shit smell. Like it was dirty raver enclave, and there was 4 of us in the car, and I didn't plan on taking ecstasy that night, but I just did because it was offered. And from that point on, I'm like, yeah, this is giving me the feeling that I want right now. I feel included. I feel like I have something to achieve to. Like there's a ladder I can climb here, and meeting some of the musicians there. There's plenty of really good DJs that are really into the music, but there's plenty that aren't into the music. They're
That's
there
the
for
same
the
thing with
egos and
everything.
shit.
Same thing with musicians. Same thing with. No.
I'd imagine with comics for sure, but
Oh yeah.
at least there's a little bit more subtlety in telling a dick joke. Maybe there's not.
There's there's a lot of dudes that it slowly you grow out of it, but I would say most male comedians get in,
Yeah,
and then slowly you can kind of find your voice, have it mean something more to you. But
that sounds like
at the
music.
beginning, they're like, "I'm not getting laid." They'll start out as that,
and then they start getting laid, and then they do the kids jokes because everybody they all got to have kids jokes once they start having kids. You're like,
so, the rave I've talked before. So I've quit drinking. I used to do drugs. I quit all those. And I was like, well, I'll still allow myself drinking to have something.
It's the worst one.
Yeah. And it's also bad to funnel like 5 addictions into one. And it was my favorite.
Right.
So like, I remember thinking of all the things, like I didn't have, never done heroin because that one always scared me for a certain reason. Like I saw plenty of people like really lose themselves to that. That's the one
people die on really fast too.
And like I've seen people come back from meth. I've never seen it come back from heroin.
I mean, you take too much Ritalin, you're on meth.
So I've avoided that one, but I've done everything else.
Now, what about pain pills? Did you ever get in that? Because that was a blight for me for about 5 years. Just pain.
I've done pain pills, but never with the purpose of getting high, or with the purpose of medical, trying to keep from screaming all night because they just cut into my.
Right. Which is a legit reason to do them.
Right.
But it also, I think it was a wisdom teeth that I got pulled out that I started on, stuck with it.
Really?
Like when I went to England for school, I'd smuggled about 120 because I was going to be there for a month and a half. 120 Percocets with me internationally just to feed this shitty little addiction.
Yeah.
Which I'd ran out middle of the way through. I was doing a field project. And so I ended up going to their Tesco, which is their fine because they sell codeine over the counter.
Oh yeah.
You hear about lean, right?
Yeah.
That's lean, but it's just in really low doses. So I'm out there buying it's like a Smurf where you're getting the Sudafed pills from Breaking Bad. Buying like these codeine pills. There's a limit you could buy each day, so I'd hit the 2 different shops.
Yeah.
Because I'm just feeding.
You want to hit both every day.
Yeah, but I've been off that shit for about 3 years now. That's one I can't go back to because I'll die, dude. The shit that they have out there now, like fentanyl, I'll be done.
Oh yeah.
That's
the thing of all the drugs I did. Alcohol was the only one that reacted with my brain enough that like the first time I was drunk, I remember thinking like, oh, this is my favorite thing I've ever experienced up to this point. And, but with everything else, I never had that strong a reaction to. So I can see like, what the things are. It's pretty typical I think everyone who might have problems with something has a certain degree of addictive personality,
Sure.
but you'll come up on one thing that
That's your thing.
can destroy you.
Yeah.
Like one night and one drug that perfectly fits your brain. And like, that's it. I like this more than being alive. And then that's
Yeah.
could be the downhill for it.
That's pretty scary that would be alcohol for you.
Yeah.
Because it's so
Interestingly
accessible,
enough,
you know?
so accessible.
And that's usually one that kills you over time, and it destroys like the quality of life more than it destroys the actual life itself. I have plenty of people.
That's interesting because it's not even that good of a drug.
Really
Doug
not a great
Stanhope,
high.
Doug Stanhope talks about if you could just go to an ecstasy bar and pay $5 for a hit, but you had to wait in a parking lot for 2 hours for your buddy to show up with a 6-pack, like you'd never drink again.
Right. Right.
It's just the accessibility, but
Yeah.
for some reason that was the one that reacted my
Okay.
strongest.
Now, has it been hard for you to stop, or is it something
No.
that...
It was difficult at the beginning. I
Yeah.
had to quit quite a few times in order for finally have one that stuck.
Right.
But after that, and the longer I go without it, like the less I've missed it, to the point of I think now I've improved my life enough that I could drink if I wanted to, and it wouldn't affect me in the same way it did when I was an alcoholic. But I just don't miss it.
Right.
You know, I don't want to drop $40 at a bar to get like mildly fucked up,
Yeah.
and then not be able to drive home or. Like,
See,
it's
I get that point.
Yeah.
With alcohol, I'm a
Yeah.
sipper or a black. You kind of know this. Even when I came and saw you guys do stand up every once, I go out, I'm either gonna not drink or I'm gonna fuck out, but not super irresponsibly. I don't drive. Know where I'm going and how I'm
Yeah.
getting there, and I get there and I'm lost. And I think I don't know if I have a particular drug where the goal it's if it is, it's pain pill. It's more of the I just want to be in a different mind state, which is probably why I like hallucinogens. But they're good in that they can put you in a different mind state safely without being too much. So I mean, I could see the whole going to a bar and getting a little bit too drunk, but you do it every night. That being
Yeah.
a problem. Never really been in that. More of a oh shit, I have a 2.20
yeah.
breath right now, and I shouldn't be standing situation, which
Yeah.
is kind of a different sort of thing. But so how long have you been without the drinks now? Has it been a little while?
Yeah, just over 2 years.
That's a good amount of time. I think the people that say I'm an addict for life feel like probably are missing a bit of the point of the addiction, because if you're still focused on it 15 years later, other shit going on besides you getting high.
Yeah, let me go about that.
Okay.
Feel free to talk if you want.
Yeah, no. Oh, hey, everybody knows.
They know you're the one I wanna give it to. I can see you on and now it's me. Now, baby, it's waiting for you. You're gonna make that move, making that move. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I'm waiting. Hey, you're gonna make that move, make a move. Baby, tell me if you like it. Yeah, baby, I love you all the way down. Get you right where you like it. I promise you like it. I swear, just relax. Me make that move. It's our secret, we'll keep it between me and you.
Hi there, this is Erez with Make Yusa, and today I'd like to show you this free Nordic Birds quiz. This is an app aimed at casual bird watchers. If you're very serious about bird watching, it's not going to cut it for you. But if you're just getting started and happen to be located in a Nordic country, this can be interesting. Let's jump into it. this is what the quiz looks like. You have a very nice image of the bird. It's not realistic in the sense that you may not be able to see the bird this up close in the wild, but it gives you a very clear idea of what it looks like. And you have to pick an answer. So I'll probably get most of these wrong, but for example, if you're not quite sure what this one is easy. But let's say there's one you're not sure about. You can tap the hint button, and one of the answers is eliminated. So you're left with two and a lower chance of error. I'm going to go with this one, and I was wrong. So this is what the easy version of the quiz looks like. You simply run through it, as I will do now. And when you finish, you get a score. You can see how well you did. That was the easy version. You can also do the hard version if you're a bit more ambitious. The interface is the same. The difference here is in the images, which are slightly harder, the bird varieties, which are more challenging, and the fact you don't get any hints. Quick look at the settings, not much to see here. You can pick language, the answers. You can set your name if you want your high score saved, and you can have the device vibrate when you tap on answers. Quite a simple app, very nice, free, and if you're into bird watching, this is a nice option to get. Thank you again. This is Erez with Make Use Of, and you can read this review as part of our roundup of 3 bird watching apps on makeuseof.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm still trying to kind of put the pieces together of your career a little bit. So, did you go to college in England, and when was that? In
Yeah,
the
it was
rave
like
days?
it was like a summer abroad. No,
Mm.
that was in 2011. Um, I went to college at CU, got my degree. That's a dog.
Shut up, Wayne.
Go outside now. Yeah, I didn't graduate in England, but I went there for a summer program in 2010, and I graduated in 2012. But I started college in Iowa at some tiny little private school, and that took a year to come back from
Yeah.
before I got back on that horse. That was my X-Files blanket
Yeah.
area, I would say.
And were you just DJing at that time?
No, that time I had no musical contact.
Really?
A lot of my like the metal band that I had been following and doing video projects with
Mm.
were still playing at that time, and I had always had mixed because they were like my friends growing up too that were in that band, and I had kind of, and actually Brendan was in that band too, for the Fake Painted Cave group. So I had mixed feelings about those guys and how they treated my desire to play music. And I was just starting, and they'd been playing music their whole lives. Basically, is what the situation was. So I wasn't ready to play music, ready to jam everyone, not actually play music with them. So I had no musical contacts for that about 8 months there. Really, um, I was still like on. This is MySpace times, by the way.
Mhm.
Looking at all the MySpace DJs, like listening to mixes of my friends, like, yeah, this is fucking cool. And there's no social scene in the. Well, it was a small town there, so I didn't have a whole lot of outlets. I would get high and go to the skate park,
Mm.
and that's what I would do. And then I eventually got arrested doing that. And they give way more fucks, probably to this day, about weed in places like that than they do here. So that turned into an issue.
So you were arrested for
Oh yeah,
skating
possession
in
while
Iowa?
skating in Iowa. Yeah,
I feel like that would just be a thing of we need to meet our quota for
let's go to the
let's go to
skate
the
park.
skate park.
Yeah, well, here's the thing too: is all the skate parks are empty there. There's no skaters to be seen at all, man. Like, I think some kids came out. I was riding a 10-foot half pipe, and these kids, they're like, you could actually use that thing. Like, not even good at it, dude. Like, how can you not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have knee pads on, but not a helmet because I hate fucking scraping my knees. But
And
I'm never
that's-
gonna bang my head. I'm good enough for that. I'm
That's
not gonna
just the
do
world we
anything
live
hard
in.
enough to bang my head.
Mhm.
I was to that point, like I can know what I'm trying. Oh, sorry, robot dick. My bad, dude.
So then how did you transfer from that in Stoop Kid? What happened in
Yeah.
between those two?
He saw my passion for, so I started recording him. And I did a few things before I left with him.
Did you have a studio, or were you just working
I had a
off,
portable
like,
studio.
Xbox mic? You had a portable
No, I
studio?
had a same mic that I don't use it today, but I still have it. Sure 27. It was a $300 mic, and it was, some sort of, it was suitable for what it needed to be done.
So you just went and got Pro Tools and built from there?
Yeah. It was like, I want to be able to record. Found something important.
Nice.
Then eventually became my own recording. So I've engineered for myself more than I've had other engineers for me. Usually.
Yeah.
Which sucks ass because you can't have a keyboard in the booth. So if you have an isolation booth, you gotta fucking hit play way ahead of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go in there and be
there.
ready and fucking do it. And then you fuck up one little
Yeah.
thing, and then you gotta come back out and run it back again.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, man. But I'm not a great engineer either. I would much rather focus on it, but I can't pay somebody $150 an hour to fucking press the space bar for me, and every once in a while be a pro. Because the reality is that's what they're doing. Like, yeah, you can have a great engineer, but you better fucking kill it on the mic, otherwise.
Why
Yeah,
I
auto
am for it.
tune fucking ball slap noise.
Yeah, that's a real weird thing. Amount of work.
Well, and
I've read about
expertise.
that.
Yeah, and they'll know like ranges and stuff while you're live. Particularly, they'll know how to mix and mastering idle edition.
Never
Bullshit.
done a lot of mixing
Right.
because that's just making it sound good. Never read about mastering. Thought about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what or the stuff that looking to post? I would say. I don't. We haven't yet gone out and put out an album with basically releasing each track as a single first. So every single song is mixed, produced completely, and then move on. And then we've gone back and put them in albums. The albums. I didn't have a whole lot to do. Second one, Wes Luke. He has a new one, the Lord Fubar one that came after the Big Painted Cave one.
I think I saw a music.
Yeah, that
that
was
one.
some fucking ratchet shit right there. We're getting ready to do another music in a couple weeks.
Nice.
I don't know if you've heard it. Like you could maybe if you wanted to play another song,
Yeah.
a good one. But it's called Dinosaur. It's newest one together. This is a little bit less video game, more chain. But this is a video. We're going to be doing a video for this in a couple weeks. And the guy that filmed that video for Lord Fubar's thing with all gangster bitches and shit,
Yeah.
they were just kind of playing around of staging and stuff like that. I love that name. Has nothing to do with the song.
Tons of jewelry, tons of don't drink Kool-Aid. What's it to me?
I love filming stuff, especially music videos.
Yeah,
Putting something together and
Fubar go for broke
Yeah.
till the day he croak. I'm so woke, like 8 balls of coke, like talks with the Pope. Just so trill, how to sit these bitches down like yo, here's a deal. I'ma reinvent the wheel, whammy conceal, Fubar for real. GB got my sticks, take human shield, boom the steel. I surprised puking, first that they seen, it's so unreal. Two, every day's chase the milk, fuck how you feel, shut your mouth. The Fubar to Fubar, just try and chill. Bitch so niche, right? Red lipstick, hair tied up, six. Chicks and Gucci kick smile, fix a mile from the bricks. Too legit.
I told him not to do the chopstick line.
Not to do the chopstick
Too many
line.
Japanese samurai shit.
Is that a big reference for him?
Bitch, like, wait, hold up, take a pic.
Take a pic.
Smoking on some that they don't need to sell yet. About to go deaf, shit loud as it get.
Does this year?
Gotta wear a life vest cause my neck always wet. On with the rat check. Eat shit, they bought the bad.
Really interesting how your voice can sound when you're doing music.
Yeah,
and
it's
recording.
a little bit different. And I really do want to get into more range with singing and things like that.
Mhm.
Problem is I don't know how to write that shit.
Yeah.
I've been writing hip hop stuff for so long. We did a song called About It, which started off when I was doing a studio project with a guy here in town. And I got the hook down and I'm like, I don't even know what to do on the verse for this thing because it's a sing-songy type thing. And it was pretty much off the cuff. And then turned it into, more melodic sort of song versus
Right.
word-based sort of thing. So I think when I get into my individual stuff, it's going to be a little bit more focused on that kind of melodic rhythmic sort of stuff. If not like R&B shit off.
Right. Well, there's a thing to R&B. Saying some of it it's pretty
Thing.
thing.
Could you imagine writing that kind of shit?
Oh yeah, writing it, yeah. But I was kind of surprised how easy it is. Like R&B singers are amazing singers, but they make the bulk of it easy on themselves
Yeah.
to sound good, and then they go up and hit the note that's 3 octaves above what a piano can play,
Right.
and then that's the moment. And then they go back to
Because they got to do
going.
choreography while they're singing.
right.
No, I think there's probably an idea behind trying to keep it simple because that's what's going to be palatable. And the death of the music industry probably kind of threw that kind of shit into chaos, where the types of melodies that would normally be seen as real simplistic have just kind of blown up too, and simplicity is found elsewhere in songs that are getting more popular. I think like the new wavy rap type stuff where you have the mumblecore and you have the
That's
the really strange repeating, like instead of verses they do a hook throughout the whole verse and then do a quick little verse and then do a hook throughout the whole thing. I think that's sort of and the experimentalism of it's great. I really do like the newer wave like cloud rap type shit where you have like the Little Yachty's, and not specifically Little Yachty, but I guess
But you'll know
specifically
the
Little
reference.
Yachty. But yeah, I think the real airy sort of experimental rap like that is going to find its ground, and I think it's finding its ground where pop used in a way because the topics aren't the same and the content and they're cussing and it's not radio cuts, but you still have this real popular catchy sort of thing that would happen in R&B tracks in the 50s and 60s and 70s that would be instantly.
That mumble rap is maybe the first thing for me that doesn't make me feel old, but feel like it's starting.
I don't get this, and I don't plan on getting this.
Yeah, like I hear mumble rap, and they're like, "That's not music." No, let's go listen to Boston. I'll show you what music.
Oh man!
Like is a first moment for me, or just
right.
A peanut butter.
Ooh, that one sounds fun.
Yeah, but it just went over my head.
Okay.
First time I heard something that I was like, I'm not accessing it.
Just let it live really simple with you sometime. Like I think a really good example of this is Lil Uzi Vert, he was on the XXL Cypher last year, so he's still pretty new, and he does this real sort of like manic and he'll come back to this thing, and you can just kind of, if you ride those waves, you can follow it. And the problem with most rap is you want to listen to it like it's fucking Snoop Dogg back in the 90s, and you want to listen to every word that he's saying, or Eazy-E and he's telling you this story. But in fact, you're just trying to ride this sound wave right now with these mumble guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fuck Young Thug is saying, but I still want to, I want to just follow that wave, like the King Kong or Godzilla, whatever song that he's got, the grime shit, slime shit, actually, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, shit, Hercules. Man, you can turn your brain off. That's fine. You don't have to worry about what they're saying, because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't fucking matter. That's the hard part about writing lyrics. I'm sure like, can you get it to the point where it's not super important that what I'm saying is the most cogent story? It's important that it's nice to listen to.
It flows,
yeah. And that's a good goal for music to have, having people be able to just put it on and enjoy it, not have to delve into it all the time.
Yeah, I think I've always wondered if it's an extension of my bipolar. I tend to like fast-paced, usually either really angry or really happy. Fast-paced, and if I'm listening to something that's not that, I really want the content quality. So it's between Nelly Hot in Here and Aesop Rock, Fast Cars, Danger Fire, and
Right.
is the two sides of the spectrum I go from. And like I'm fine with
That's a
turning
big spectrum.
yeah, but like only one or the other.
Right.
Like I'm fine with turning my brain off
Yeah.
and going for it, but it's gotta have the production and beat and fast paced
Yeah.
upbeat thing going for it, John.
I
that
get
I'm
where you're
into
going
it.
with that.
But when it's mumble rap, it's so low and chopped and screwed music.
You ever seen Chopped and Screwed? People dancing Chopped and Screwed music?
Oh,
See, that was one of the things as being a DJ. The most fun times I'd have is when I do little house parties and not get paid at all. I would get drunk and just fucking play music, and play music and see the kind of reactions that I would not expect from that kind of shit. And once I get off on a tangent and just play some like remixed ass fucking who even knows Fetty Wap something, and people start dancing, enjoying it. I think that's good setting for that. It might not be something you want to go listen to while you're making breakfast, but it might be something your chick wants to listen to while you're dancing. You know what I mean? Or that you want to listen to with your chick while you're dancing. Or even not with your chick. You can get down with that.
This looks more like it.
That dance style too is
That's it.
Oh no, that's not what I was expecting at all.
Not what you were expecting.
No, I was thinking more like kind of like they speed it up like an EDM dance. Usually. I don't know. Not bad.
Yeah.
Met a chick that could dance like that, I'd be pretty happy.
This playing shows and getting drunk and punching my guitar and yelling and stuff.
Being
doing all
crazy,
that stuff,
doing the things that you think rock stars should do, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like I'm not a rock star, but I fucking do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna break a TV out the window of the hotel. That's, that's what I'm on.
That's some rock star shit. We're just like like Van Halen, man. It's
Right.
just me and Van Halen. We're the
I'm not
same.
allowed in the Ritz Carlton anymore. Shit on the bed. Some Russian prostitutes like cut me or something with wax.
But I hope you leave enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine.
That's Austrian, not
Yeah.
Russian. That's the wrong accent.
That's Arnold
Arnold.
Schwarzenegger.
Dude, best quote from this guy is from that movie that he did in the 70s about weightlifting. Or I think he might have wrote the
Pumping
book,
Iron.
Pumping Iron. It's like,
Yeah.
every time I pump weight on the stand, I'm coming into a woman.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Man.
like you're made.
Yeah, I've done stuff before that is better than sex to me, but lifting weights has never been one. Never even close. Like we sold out the Black Sheep once, and that was
pretty good.
Yeah, that to me felt better than sex. I would do that again. I would turn down a girl who was going to blow me to go do that again.
Now, are you comparing that to your best sexual experience or your average sexual experience?
I'm probably thinking average at the time, but I'd still
Right.
probably go beyond best.
I'm not trying to argue that sex
Yeah.
is the best thing in the world. I'm not going to do that. I feel
Yeah.
like that's not defensible at all. Really? Have you ever had like 5 puppies in the same room? Like, it's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy thing to have accomplished as well.
Yeah, the moment I remember from that show, I enjoyed playing to a packed house so much. But the moment that always sticks out in my brain about that, place is packed and my bassist about it.
Right.
And the singer was starting to get cold feet as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really intense. So I decided to try and turn up the energy.
Take your pants off.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, turn it up enough that the audience would take away a little bit more judgment so they could jumping around on stage, hanging off the ceiling. But I jumped one time, and I flung my head back, and just some snot. I saw it like hit the light.
Nice.
Came out and then went back in my
Oh
nose.
shit.
And I landed, and I was like, "Wow, 500 people just saw that."
I went and saw Bloodhound Gang one time.
Oh,
Play a
nice.
show in Denver at I think it was at the Roxy, and they did a thing. I'm sure they didn't come up with it, but god damn it, my 17, 16-year-old self thought it was a cool fucking thing. They did something called a spit machine. I don't know if you've heard of this, but Dave, their bassist, who's like 7 feet tall, by the way, he's a giant of a man. He had the entire audience spit on him
Really?
for about 5 minutes straight. Like, okay, everybody spit on
Like
him.
for a song or just in between?
No, in between songs. Like, and so everybody near the bassist was getting spit on. Just disgusting. Just downright foul. But it fit the Bloodhound Gang repertoire, you know? For here to be gross. We have the song called The Bag Touch. Supposed to be that. And it fit it really well. And man, that was a really enjoyable concert because I wasn't near the bassist and I wasn't getting spit on.
Yeah.
I might have spit once or twice, I'm sure. And then they would chug a whole bottle of Jägermeister. I think that was probably before that. After. Do it before and then get the courage to do that.
Yeah.
So did it work? Did
Did
your
it-
bassist and your
Yeah,
singer
yeah.
get a little more relaxed and
Yeah,
kind of
it
kill the rest
worked.
of the show?
And we'd talked about that as a plan beforehand. Like I
Look
could
at
just
you,
notice
man.
when they start
You
to
had
get
it managed.
yeah. I really ran that thing, but at the same time, like the mental illness was starting to come in.
Yeah.
So I would occasionally like running it, making everything happen, booking the gigs, writing the songs, and then occasionally I'd be like, "We should all wear clown hats and suits for this gig," and they'd be like, "Bad idea, no good."
So have you ever bombed a show?
Yeah,
Yeah. Just
musically.
totally bombed it.
music, yeah. What sucks about that is I thought it was decent
Oh no.
until I got off stage.
That's
and,
crazy.
I'm sure for you, you're able to do probably your own sound if you're performing live from the DJ.
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was relying on a sound guy who just made it awful,
Yeah.
too high and everything, and the band wasn't in sync. And that's actually part of the reason is why I talked to them about like, I'll bring all the attention on me, you focus on your parts and whatnot, because the rest of my band had gotten
Because of that experience.
nervous about the show. I was too into playing my part because the songs were relatively new to the band anyway.
Right.
So like I didn't realize from the back of the room awful and no one's in sync and my bassist, my singer is like sweating.
Right.
It just wasn't good until I got off and I was like, that was okay. And so I was like, that was
pretty bad.
hard. That was hard to watch.
Well, at least you didn't know you were bombing in the middle of it.
Right.
One of the few shows that I've done was definitely a bomb, and it started off with some stupid idea. And this was performing the second Stoop Kid album with a couple of the older ones, and I was mostly DJing, but also backup vocals. And I drank too much ahead of time, and I hadn't had my DJ set up correctly, so I was mostly just pressing the play button. Because the other DJs wouldn't take their shit down, so I had to use it.
Yeah.
And Mike died in the middle of it. Had the bad idea of like throwing. We put our logo on a sticker and put the sticker on a pack of Pokemon cards. Threw them at the audience. This wasn't recent enough for it to be ironic yet. It was still fucking bad.
Yeah.
And it didn't go over well at all. And the first song killed. People were coming from back of the bar to come listen to it, and then immediately fucking left.
Really?
Like, we've checked this
Damn.
out and we're not we're enthused. This isn't what we're here for. And it was fine, but that night sucked ass. Like, okay, here's what to do, what not to do, and don't get back to the basics sort of shit. Don't try to showboat yet, because that was after we'd gotten a reasonable presence online. And by reasonable, I mean like, a few thousand plays on each song, which is nice and some relatively good feedback, which is awesome to get because the feedback is like, yeah, you're giving us not necessarily criticism, but just talking about it and saying what you think about it. That part's dope, man. Probably feed on that way too much, man.
Yeah, with stand up, it's amplified ways. One of the things I miss most about performing that way is also the double edged stuff. I really miss sometimes there's a heckler or something, or I'm having trouble with it talking. I really miss being able to just turn up my guitar and like play at them angry.
Not now.
Not now. I can't do that anymore.
Just
but
stare at somebody and yell.
Yeah, that instant feedback makes stand up work, and it's difficult for music when you're isolated. You're in the studio or your writing room, work on something, and you don't know. Even when you play it, it can be sometimes difficult to gauge reaction to.
Yeah.
Until you talk to people.
Yeah, and you want to measure how much that affects what you don't want to just become a slave to saying. But at the same time, you want to know that you're connecting, you know. I feel like if I write something and I perform it good, I actually perform it to the level that I wrote it and, don't mess up every fucking second, then I'm happy with the piece.
Yeah.
I'm not caring about what happens after the piece is created. I'm happy with the production and the actual creation of the piece. And then its life is now after that. That's different. Marketing and that's other shit. And if it connects, that'll inform hopefully what I do with other things. Like if I could come up with a 4-word hook that people would listen to a whole bunch and it was interesting, I'd want to do that in the vein of Metropolis. But it's not as easy as just recreating the same thing, and I want it to be something that I have to work hard at and actually comes from a place that's inspired instead of something whatever. So yeah, talking about chains on this fake painted stuff and talking about typical rap sort of stuff, it might be kind of a safe move, but it's also a way for me to kind of express my music as efficiently as possible, having to come up with a story about a psychiatrist song, you know what I mean? It actually lets me produce 12 songs or a song every month. We're kind of trying to.
Okay, and you 12 finished your
songs. Released, ready to send out to whoever wants to listen to it. Because once it gets to that stage, I think a song a month is cool.
Yeah,
I think that's a good amount of time to get the sort of things you need to be done. The beat has to be made. You have to write. You have to produce it. You have to record it. And it's obviously better when we record together. So sometimes we'll fucking take a day off of work and go up to his cabin or something, drop some LSD and just fucking make a song.
Yeah.
Or I'll make it in my part and he'll do his part separately. And it's been about 1 month a song for a while. Took a little bit of a break, but we're getting ready to start on the new album too.
Nice.
The original album was Fake Painted Cave, just self-titled. So yeah, I want to do Ice Age next.
Ice Age?
Yeah.
You're gonna slowly work through
It's just Ice Age now.
The ages, yeah.
Yes. We're coming out of the cave into the Ice Age.
So, do you go by a name or is it just Chris? I know Lord Fubar.
No, I go by George Burns.
George Burns?
Which isn't a rap name at all.
No, because I'd wondered that when I first met you, and then looked up later, I was like, so are you Lord Fubar or are you Stoop Kid? Like, I was very confused.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've gone by 3 names throughout this whole experience with Brandon of Elithic. Doesn't mean anything either.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like The Logic.
Yeah. That sounds like you were on drugs and you were with a couple people. Does Elithic sound like what a DJ would be named?
Like you have to have a name that's not your name now. What is it? Yeah, Czar was one, which is fun. That lasted for like 2 songs. And then George Burns I've really stuck with. I like George Burns. I've stuck with that the whole time. Fubar went from Most Illustrious.
Most Illustrious?
King Henry. Golan Highest, and then he's kind of stuck with Lord Fubar.
Is that a weird one for rappers? Because if you're able to change your name so free, that's an ending.
I feel like that's where the mobs and stuff come in, and they do like the ASAP whatevers, and they all have their own little parts of that, and they're just ASAP mob. And I don't know. I think I wouldn't want to put my dynamic on somebody else because I can change my name and still have the same amount of people listen to music and change my name. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it worked out just fine.
Yeah.
It's actually been a pain in the ass because as far as Metropolis, one of the biggest bumps we got off that was a buddy of mine that does Team Fortress 2 videos. Has a pretty big following on that. He used it in one of his videos, and we got probably 30,000 views off that alone, and then 200,000 on his thing. And it was put to an old SoundCloud page, which we had to reincorporate into our social media. But it wasn't the newer one we were trying to lay out there, so we had a big traffic bump. Because we'll average about 500 to 1,000, depending on how recently we released a song every week, or maybe every 2 weeks, something like that. And getting 30,000 in a few days was a big bump for us, but it was on the wrong social media.
Yeah.
And it was because we kept changing names and shit, and we create a new SoundCloud every time we did.
Yeah.
Now with Spotify and shit, that's a lot easier.
Yeah, I remember naming bands, and I would agonize over it for a couple months and talk to people and do research and see what people's reaction to that name was and all kinds of shit before I ever.
Does it make you feel angry?
Yeah.
Does it make you feel sad?
Pretty much. I had like a whole test group, go through all kinds of and different versions and names before, and then once I named it that was the thing. I was worried about working through promotion or building live shows, especially.
Yeah, it's a legit concern. There's also a thing I think of Perfect Circle, and then Pussifer. I think Pussifer just switches out new people every once in a while, so the band name stays the same, but the people change.
Yeah,
that's usually the more common way that happens.
Yeah,
the name stays the same, and it's the same sort of repertoire, but it's different people. The people changing their names. I can't think of a whole lot of other musicians that change their names a whole bunch. I'm sure there's plenty that I'm not thinking of, but I don't.
P. Diddy and
yeah.
Just I have this memory in my head of someone going like, "From
Prince.
Now on,
Prince.
yeah."
Prince, he was the famous one, wasn't he? He was. I'm now a symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, only something Prince could do.
Right, and that's after he had a massive following, and he just wanted to make a decree because he was fucking cool like that. You call me this now.
Someone had told me that the symbol was because Warner Brother Records had rights to all of his music. So like he couldn't put out a song or couldn't put out an album without a bunch of talks with Warner Brothers. Like your name Prince can't even be featured on a show without paying a certain. And any like word version of Prince, if you call yourself King now, also is covered in the content. So he was like, "How about a symbol?" And they're like, "We didn't think of that crazy shit."
Nice. See, and that's cool. That's cool. That's art, fucking life. Imitating it. Yeah, the business of music doesn't super interest me. Like getting to know it. Besides, like cool things about things like that people have done. Like the guy that trying to think of changed his name for a similar reason. I'm not gonna think of it. That's really interesting that Prince did that because it's probably one of the more famous examples of that. I never listened to much Prince.
No.
I've
been trying to listen more because what I've heard I've always liked, but I never delved in.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Doves Cry. I like that song.
You ever do that?
A whole bunch.
They just get like the whole discography or something and just dive in for a week.
You know, I've had success and failures with that. Like I thought I liked Frank Zappa until I downloaded all the Frank Zappa discography.
No, it's just Hot Rats.
I like watching you play, but I don't want to fucking listen to this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try and do that occasionally. Just because as I get older, my side and the
Yeah,
same bands and stuff.
but you don't want that.
No, I want to
Yeah.
keep listening to more shit. So I think the last one I did went down a Black Sabbath hole.
Oh wow.
I never really
Sabbath Hole. That
Yeah,
sounds like a
Sabbath
band
Hole.
name right there. There's your survey of what band name Sabbath Hole.
Sabbath Hole.
I feel like naming shit's usually pretty straightforward for me. You just come up with something and it might not be very good.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Whatever.
No,
I probably want to change my name all the fucking time.
Yeah. My EP, I wanted to call it Belladonna because I can't call it shape that 50s. So found out it dilated your eyes, dabbed it on your eyes, made it look eyes. So they would do that as practice more attractive, like a makeup thing.
Yeah.
Dab this plant on there, and a couple months,
shit.
eyes first, and became blind. That theme throughout the EP a lot. Toxicity, whatnot.
And, at 18?
Yeah.
Ooh, shit.
Ooh, at 18.
Oh, shit.
Like trying a lot of, talking about relationships and like trying to blah, blah, blah. It was a lot of
that. I needed a little self-help fucking
it does go,
do that.
Yeah, it goes back a lot to when I was younger, bipolar, try to have a relationship. So it does kind of have some of that old. But
yeah,
I wanted to call it that for that specific reason. I was like, that works.
Emo.
Yeah. Does sound a little emo. And I told my band, and they're like, no. Why not? And I explained the whole thing.
The story's cool, but is the name cool?
Yeah, and I was like, and I like the name and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, Belladonna star. That's how we know. We don't know that interesting piece of history. Like, we just know the anal porn star. And I was like, all of you know the anal porn star? and both my guitarist and bassist were like, yes. And my singer was like,
she's a famous porn star, bro.
They're like, no one's going to think
she's ass-tastic.
Yeah, so now it's self-titled.
Self-titled's a good way to go.
Yeah, but I'm glad.
When in doubt.
I'm glad I did that little focus group, or else I would have just named my album after an anal porn star. Called it a day.
That they should have let you have that one. You should have just called it Anal Porn Star.
Yeah.
That would have been a great name for that.
It's also a little fitting.
A little fitting. Can I get a rim shot on that one? Or a rim job at least?
Wait. It's a little fitting.
Oh shit. Getting swifty over here. Shit on the Mr. Bulldogs. See, you can have tons of different names. Those are my favorite parts of the Rick recordings when they're rapping. Because that's such a weird thing for Rick to want to do. To be a rapper. Like, that just, I find that to be the weirdest desire for Rick to have in that show. Like, he wants to go rap in front of people. Like, that's how he fucked the simulation that Patton Oswalt is the alien of. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah.
Or if you ever have even watched those.
Yeah, I've watched that.
What a weird desire. I feel like rappers are getting older, right? Like, have you ever heard of the group Run the Jewels?
Yeah, I love Run the Jewels.
So they both had a whole lot of success for a long period
super
of time.
group.
But now they're in their late 30s, maybe even in their 40s now, in the most success they've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And in the type of rap that they're doing, this hard edge, real, and they're getting a little more political now because they're both very political people. Mike, but being the age that they are, and then seeing the greatest amount of success, because they've always been dope, dude. Cannibal Ox, LP's been one of the best producers for a long time, and now he's also a good rapper. He's a great rapper now. He was a good rapper then, and they're seeing the success in the age where you wouldn't expect to see any rappers at all, much less putting out the best piece of work. I think that's kind of interesting because growing up as rap really sucked as far as like like hardcore alternative rap outside of real minor gangster genre from 2005 to 2010, maybe even 2003 to 2010 sucked, dude. There was not a whole lot of good non super poppy mainstream or super underground rap. And then you have groups that come or not, but individuals like Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, like blowing up in the early 2010s, late 2000s. Really renaissance, like Rocky, really doing really good hardcore, less poppy. Kendrick's getting very poppy now. His earlier stuff poppy, and I don't use the term poppy as a problem at all because that's pop music has its place as well. I don't mean
it's a
that
style
a bad thing, but it's more of a exactly.
It's a stylistic.
You couldn't have her Run the Jewels into.
Yeah,
it wasn't ready to have. Then you get people like Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine. Of all the fucking things he could be doing, he's doing little side hustles with Run the Jewels on a 40-year-old bunch of 40-year-olds rapping and making the most hardcore, hard cutting edge rap music. You know, it's a really interesting time for that.
De La Rocha was which member of Rage?
He's the singer.
He's the singer?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because my aunt twice removed 7-year bitch punk band in Seattle, and she married the drummer Rage Against.
Oh, okay.
It's like I met that guy, but I was too young to really know or even be into Rage.
Really?
But there was a story moved through the family, you know, telephone. So who really knows?
Sure.
But about how rest of the band, as they got older, wanted to play more complex stuff, jazz, a little less ragey, a little bit more interesting and personally challenging to them as musicians.
Yeah.
And they had to kick Zach out because he's still like in his 40s, was like, down with the machine.
I think that's probably where he's still at.
Yeah.
Because you hear his raps now, and he's probably that's pretty much where it is now.
They're like, man, we're not little Rage. I'm like, got my cappuccino, and I just don't feel like Rage all the time.
He should do they should do a song with TLC, and they do the grown up version of Bad Bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll play the backup music. Well, that was Seattle in those times. Like I hate grunge music. I fucking hate it, dude. I don't want to listen to it. Thing. Not at all. Do I respect it? Fuck yeah. And even more so, I respect that scene. What an awesome scene to be in Seattle, and you know, that kind of time. Late 90s, like the type of people that were there making music and the type of music so unhinged sort of shit. And it's not super complex music. Fucking sure.
I would recommend anyone who wants to learn guitar, look up tablature for Nirvana. 2 chords, and they're the simplest chords to hold.
Right.
A monkey could learn it.
Yeah, but you sound good doing it. But it's
with
more
enough
that
distortion on your guitar.
So yeah, I think Rage. They didn't have a super complex sound, but they did mesh 2 sounds together. I really, to this day, can listen to Rage if I'm in the right attitude. Yeah. You know, the evening where I'm pissed off about something, I can put some Rage. Sure.
I definitely agree about the grunge music. As I would never choose to listen to it, but I do a lot of respect for this.
Yeah,
I really love the punk scene in Seattle at the same time. For like it's my bitch, and some really good bands from.
But is it good
actual music? I think so, but I'm also a fan of punk in that way.
Okay,
you know,
I can listen to the Clash.
If I saw it on notation on sheet music, I'd be like, so I can tell you that's not good music. But I still really enjoy it for the high energy, punch somebody, turn off my brain stuff.
That's a good attitude to have in music, man. Art should be destructive and creative, and that I love that shit. I loved doing mosh pits when I was younger, and I don't super particularly love metal. but I would go to a metal show any day of the week because I want to fucking rage. I want to, let that energy out. That's a good venue for that. I'm not into those type. The punk guys get a little weird in they put like razor blades on their fists and swing them around and do all these weird things. Like,
yeah,
that's a little
they get
silly
really...
to me. I just want to like have to actually use strength and
right.
get knocked out if at worst.
Yeah,
I don't want to get cut or something.
Before I started that band, the guitarist and I had been friends for a long time, and we would go to shows at the Black Sheep almost every weekend, almost once a week. And we noticed after a while that he started calling him Puto the Cokehead, because this dude, this like 4 foot, late 40s Mexican sweaty guy, would come into the show later on. Like, he'd buy a ticket, he'd walk in, no matter what show it was, and he'd just start punching little emo kids. Like, he'd just walk around and punch him in the head and then sniffle, go around and punch another kid.
God damn.
He would do that like 20 times and then he'd bounce.
That's a pretty cool hobby.
Yeah.
What do you do, man? Oh, I go punch emo kids.
I go punch Mayday Parade fans is what my favorite thing to do is. But
just not a My Chemical Toilet fan, dude. Like...
yeah. So, but I really enjoyed mosh pits and stuff. The thing that I got older would piss me off the most, and especially when I started in the Colorado Springs, starved. I think since I've lived here.
Yeah.
And I've seen 50 venues open up and close down in a month.
Really?
Yeah, all the time.
I don't even pay attention to the new ones. I didn't know they were happening.
It's like twice
there's a World
year.
Arena and Black Sheep. That's all.
Yeah.
And Raucous, which is the same sort of shitty little club.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Until twice a year when Machine Gun Kelly shows up. Yeah. And yeah, it's those two. And I've seen, one of my buddies was telling me, new place open up. Finally, there's blah, blah, blah.
I've been hearing more and more about them now because we're fucking in one, first of all.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that scares me is people have not had a lot of luck with music venues. Rings. Yeah. And
is the music scene shit here? I don't think the music scene in Fort Collins when I was getting into it was fucking good, dude. Pretty Lights from Good Grief there. You got they're an emo band, something Pink. The guys in the night, but they were really good. Flowbots are there all the time. The Phrase from Denver, they would be up. So it was a really hopping scene up north. And I mean, there's too many juggalos down here to do hip hop. Unfortunately,
yeah.
There's a lot of murdercore, like, which I'm not even like ragging on juggalos. Like, whatever you think about that's fine, but it's a way different rap than a lot of the game.
When I was music, one of the jokes. There's two kinds of genres in Colorado Springs, and that's metal, Christian metal.
Christian metal.
And I was like, I think there's a factory somewhere in Security Weisfield that just pumps out long-haired dudes with cross necklaces, Schecter guitars.
Yeah,
because that was my whole experience
Texas
of playing.
Throws them all at us. They want to be Texans, smoke weed as well.
Yeah.
Like they're the Christians that all weed.
Yeah,
they come up.
And it was really shit before the Flux.
There's so many good things about Flux, and I my friend Troy does your friend too, does his practice space over. That's all I know about Flux.
That's really that venue did a lot for the scene, but also that building is all practice spaces.
Let the bands join.
Yeah, and I've had a couple practice spaces too. It's a building full of music, and it's a place for these musicians to actually practice.
Also hang out.
Yeah, and they all hang out, and they all meet each other. I've run into Troy there before while I was jamming out, and I think both that building, practice space, ambassador, really started to open this thing up. So it's it's fledgling right now, but it has a lot of potential in the music scene here.
That's great. I'm glad because you would know. That's really cool, man. I look forward to seeing that. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of hobbies that require me to be in this town, but it'd be cool to see a scene that grew up here organically, you know. Because you want to be entertained, I don't want to have to go to Denver every
Yeah,
fucking time.
that's something that I really miss about living in Denver. There's a show here. It's at the Black Sheep. I see it 5 months in advance,
Yeah.
and I put that date on my calendar, and then I get ready and blah blah blah. And sometimes I'll open my front door to go, and it's like 5 feet of snow, and I'm like, well, fuck. But when I used to live in
There goes
Denver,
that I planned.
yeah, when I used to live in Denver,
What am I doing tonight? Oh, fuck it.
yeah, if I was bored, I would just walk up and down Colfax, past all the theaters,
Yeah.
and pick a show I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Pay my $7 and go in. I saw tons of world-renowned, fucking badass bands. Just walking up and down, didn't even know they were playing that day. Black Keys, Bombay Bicycle Club, The Vaccines, Arctic Monkeys.
Nice.
Just
Yeah.
amazing shows that I
You
didn't even know
ahead of time.
I was just walking around. I was like, "Oh, sweet, the Arctic Monkeys are here."
That's awesome.
Like that would never happen in the
No,
Springs
not
area.
here. I mean, one time I saw that MC Chris was playing when I drove by the Black Sheep. You don't know? Do you know this? MC P Pants from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was tempted to go to that, but I had shit to do.
Yeah.
But I would like to. If I didn't have shit to do, that's basically the only time that I've stopped by the Black Sheep unannounced. Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, and well, I mean, it's a much bigger city, but it's not that much bigger. Like the size of this town compared to the amount of shit happening is,
Yeah.
Musically, nothing. 1,750,000 people here. You know, Fort Collins is smaller than that, and you can go to the Aggie and have time pretty much. There's a couple other venues. In Boulder too.
Mhm.
Plenty of good music in Boulder. I mean, there's a few less venues and way more douchey bros that you have to arm your way through, but you'll get there. I mean, you're not going to get beat up by a GI like you are here.
I think that's the real difference between this town, even though it's so big, out and there's so much here, that this is military retirement town.
It's not a college town. Boulder
It's
and
not a
Fort
college
Collins are
town.
college towns. Denver is a city.
If you drive up to the top of the hill on Powers, it's just suburbs as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
And if you had binoculars and stood there, you'd see the same Dr. Phil show in every house through the window, because that's what's going on here.
Right.
And I remember at a point when I was 23 living here, before I started. No, that would have. I don't know what it was, but I was around that age,
Yeah.
early 20s, and living here. And I was like, if I wanted to meet a girl my age, where would I go?
Right.
Because I didn't
You
know.
go to church, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't
You
know
go meet
anyone.
a girl in church.
I didn't know anyone my age that was cool. I had to start going to open mics and do stand
Still
up,
don't.
and yeah, still not really.
No, just kidding.
All the girls I've dated in the last year are like 2-3 years older than me.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So what was your decider there that you wanted to start participating in things that you thought people would be into, or like?
At the time, I didn't realize that you're in school or in college or something, you're grouped together
Mm-hmm.
with people, but stop being forced into a group of people. Now you're just sitting at home
Right.
watching Netflix and like, where are the people? How do I meet? I don't even know where to
Are
start.
we going to get drunk is kind of like the only that's the go-to,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And when I would do that, I would go to this dive bar, and there was no one my age in there either.
Right. And you just pick up on the cougars, bro. What do you make of these dab lounges? Do you think people understand in this town that you go pay for a dab of wax and get high whenever you want legally in that building?
Yeah.
Like a pot club that we
Mhm.
have several of pot clubs legally ordained. There's nowhere
Mhm.
else in the state to do that legally.
No.
There's sure, but it's sanctioned by the city, and then they do these stand-up shows. Speakeasy, I think, does it.
Yeah, at the
Have
Speakeasy,
you ever
at the
done one of
Dab
those?
Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a lot of those pot shows because they're some of the first things you get stand up here. But uh, it's really difficult playing those places. Yeah, they're not really there for that. And at the same time, I mean, I thought first one I did, I was like, oh, they're all high. This will be great. I'll laugh at almost anything. This will really work.
That doesn't quite work, does
Yeah.
it?
And what I found out is the problem is they have less attention span than even a regular audience, which has very little. So no matter what you say, they're off in their own thought. Like, so I had a sandwich today, and they're all like, "Oh, what was that?" Like, they come back and they didn't hear the joke, and it's very difficult. You got to have fast one-liners in order to engage. You
That's
got to be yelling,
fascinating.
and so it's a really tough gig, especially for the kind of stand-up I do,
Uh-huh.
where I'll talk a little more and go through a sub. But yeah, those dab shows, I don't really enjoy doing them. I've done a couple at the Dab Lounge, which I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
because John Brown and Ben Verbeek have a pretty cool show there called Comedy Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
But even that one,
Even though it's promoted separately as a comedy night, it's still
yeah, like
still-
an audience will show up there for comedy, but it's at attention span,
yeah.
among other things. The Dab bars in the Springs, I haven't been to all of them. I've been to Studio, A64, Speakeasy, Dab Lounge. That might be all.
There's Lazy Lion too.
There's lazy. I haven't been.
I got a
there.
guy fired from the Speakeasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I participated in one of the local 420 competitions, and just tons of mushrooms while I was waiting to hear the result. And one of the guys that was working there ended up taking some from me. He asked for, yeah, whatever, man. And he just flips the fuck out. He gets fired. I didn't realize how much of a ruckus I had caused until the next day when I come get my car and there's a little note on it.
Oh.
It was, I forget exactly what it says, but it was something like, "Yeah, man, don't come back here." I'm like, okay, that was
that's
bad.
interesting.
But it was all because this guy couldn't handle his shit. Like, who the fuck? You're working, dude. You
Yeah.
gotta accept some. I didn't offer it to him. He asked for him. I was there celebrating my 4th place victory in the local cannabis cup here.
Psychedelics, yeah.
Yeah, I was having fun. Shit up. But that's an interesting place. I just think, like, not specifically for comedy, but its existence at all, I think is probably not known, because if somebody in fucking buttfuck Minnesota knew that they could just get high and hang out and listen to bands legally, Colorado, close to touristy shit, it'd be packed every day, all day.
Yeah.
Because you got plenty of pot tourists and they're all smoking in their limos or whatever the fuck, paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You got to get the budget pot to come stand up with way too high of weed, like way too strong. That'd be even worse, man.
And one of the things I was really hoping would happen, and it has happened, I've noticed, medical marijuana. I haven't been in Denver enough to see what recreation is really like. I have my medical card. One of the things that I was hoping would happen was it would take less connotation, stoner stereotype.
Yeah.
Like the guys I grew up with that would, hey, I'm really into reggae all of a sudden. Here's my Bob Marley t-shirt. Like, weed should be legal, man. If it doesn't do this, then it doesn't. It just should be legal.
The problem is the people that feel compelled to say that shit. It's just common sense, and we don't need to talk.
But I was hoping when it was legalized, it would become more, I don't know, doctors and lawyers and just regular people.
Yeah.
Regular upstanding citizens who already enjoy it. They just never were vocal about it beforehand.
Well, I think what a regular person looks like here and what a regular person looks like in Manhattan are two different things. So if you're expecting people in suits and walk into the dispensary,
Right.
I don't think that's... most people aren't going to look like that anyway.
But I just mean,
I get where
no,
you're coming from
yeah.
though, like getting rid of that stoner culture,
Mhm.
you know, not just Bob Marley, but also Cheech and Chong sort of 70s image.
And I don't want to obliterate it, but I would like more of the balance. We going to continue.
Yeah.
It's like if I go to the dispensary, there's a 50-year-old woman sitting right next to me before we go into the medical dispensary.
Medical weed is
Yeah.
amazing what it does for people.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
really nice to see the type of people that have better lives. And my grandfather died of Parkinson's, and before he kind of had some dementia stuff going on too. And before he slipped into that, I bought him a whole bunch of medical weed, sent it to him. He lived in Iowa, trying to get him in trouble too, trying to get him to go to jail. He didn't take it though, but I sent him all different concoctions like sodas, chewables, smokables, and because there's some evidence that I understood shakes and shit. And he decided not to take it, which is fine too.
His choice.
Yeah, exactly. But
Indica is very good
wanted
for
it there
seizures
for
and
him.
inflammation.
I wanted him to have access. Take it. Certainly wasn't. But there's plenty of people that don't have that opportunity. That's why there's all those people, kids that have seizures and shit, moved stuff. Yeah, the medical side. I think the more and more we can see that kind of shit, I think that's where we're gonna get the more standardized image of weed, of seeing it cool in life. Not the same drug as alcohol is a drug. Sure it's a drug, but so is not an important distinction. Important distinction is what it's doing for you or hurting you. Plenty of people does both.
Yeah.
But more so probably nobody. I mean, you can get high and crash your car. That's the most dangerous thing. But you cigarette attacks and die.
Yeah, but that's my only problem with the dab lounges, the dab bars. Of all the ones I've concentrated stuff, but of all the ones I've been into, it's very celebratory of that stoner culture. And I would like there to be some sort of counterbalance, that there was like you could go to a dive bar to drink, or there's some really high end bars and you go get Manhattan and it's very like new looking in there. I wish there was that version.
You have to have tortoiseshell glasses and a good pedigree,
so you don't have to feel like a dirty lunatic when you're sitting in there in order to get a dab.
Let me make you $1 billion. I'm just building off of that, a weed casino. That feeds on the 70s Rasta bullshit.
Oh, fuck.
Like all the dealers are dressed like Jamaicans and shit.
TGI Fridays for Bob Marley.
Yeah, they gotta have flair and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would take so much money out of people's hands. Let them smoke weed in a casino. I guess they just legalized in Las Vegas, so that might. They can't do it in the casinos at all. Like even in the hotels, they're not supposed to above the casinos.
People do it in the hotels already.
Yeah, exactly. That is a huge market for weed, but we're allowed to smoke because you drink while you're gambling.
Yeah.
If you could smoke while you're doing that, you wouldn't have any money left.
No.
All your money.
Yeah, gambling is one of those things that does worry me. I know I have an addictive personality, so I've just never.
It's a good call. We getting into trading like Bitcoin shit and treating it like stock, not treating it like digital stuff that it's supposed to be, software and stuff. Hey, this is fun. I know how to make money off this. Throwing a few bucks at it and gambling, stock market, all that shit. It's gambling. It might be educated gambling. Hedge funds, they're gambling, and they become the powerful rich ones because they won it lucky or they have a good insurance policy. Like the Shkreli guy. Like, I might have lost this money, but I won all this money, so I'll pay them back with this money. Like, I'll break a few laws in the way. Fuck it.
Yeah, see, I just don't have the stones for it. I grew up so poor that like I lose $5 now in a machine.
This is
and I just start hyperventilating. Like, that's $5 whole. Yeah. I just don't have the. Yeah, $5 can be a lot to me, especially if I'm just spending it on nothing.
That's one whole sandwich, man.
Yeah, it's one whole sandwich.
That's one whole almost a sandwich.
Yeah.
You could almost get a sandwich.
My brother hates Britney Spears.
Still? That's a pretty retro thing to hate.
Yeah, but he absolutely hates Britney Spears because she has Sheen in every casino in Vegas. And he is like, Britney Spears stole $500.
Oh my
like
God.
her. Like, that's why he's mad at her.
No, I think
He's
he just
too
likes
young.
saying it.
Well,
he likes saying that.
Probably.
Britney Spears stole from me. We know that she didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
the machine, you know what I'm saying? It's shorthand.
But he was like, it's her face on the thing. She has my 500. Like, this is her shit.
That's great, man. How long have we been on now?
What are we going on? Yeah, like 2 hours, 7, 8. Going on. Did you want to wrap it up, or you want to keep going for a little bit?
Well, I'm cool to keep going. I gotta
Okay.
use the restroom and smoke again now.
Go for it,
I'm gonna
dude.
grab another beer too.
Yeah, let's do that.
You want to put on another pig flying video, or what the fuck are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
What was
type that in right now. Pig flying.
How about some new ASAP rock off of the do you like something?
Oh yeah.
One of his new videos.
That's one of my favorite lines. Like, after 25 years of taking prescriptions, my therapist is like, I don't know, maybe get a kitten. Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I'm gonna take a brief intermission. We'll come back. You know.
What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hobgoblin, shots of hot Roger. Vaccine queen deemed church socks hostage. 9 weeks awesome, hides in a slipper. Look in her eye like she might be a wizard. Cold met a cat lady in a parking lot. She got the heroes of tomorrow in a cardboard box. And probably hoarding 40 more in the corners of Fort Knox. Swap 20 on a spot and cop the warlock. Back at the haunt, found God in the hamper. Briefs on her head, playing looking with a panther. Good around misery and golden era samplers. Jeopardy and wheel at the heels of her handlers. Bet more than a pet, so worship is an MD. Recommended sense of purpose here to ladder keys and the means to euphoria. Soon to be held against the ball. Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? Why'd you eat that leaf? Yo, homie, don't fetch. Only woke to stretch under a fort, bubble rich with bowls of goldfish. Skittish in a company of stranger danger. Otherwise, chase drawstrings, tails, and lasers in a steel cage match with a maze of cables. Brazen, game face based on a Zazel. Oversized ears up, puke in the meow mix. Shred a pair of earbuds, remedy is cowlick. Thanks, curbs looking like a millie. Keep an old man sharp, keep a cold chantilly. Spun plum dizzy in a frisky moment. Never lands on her feet, though I think she's broken. Mouse are in training, nap on the toaster. Decorator cubicle with dogs playing poker. 15 years taking prescriptions, now a shrink like I'll maybe get a kitten. Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? Hey, Kirby. What you doing, Kirby? What you doing there? I don't know. Maybe get a kid. I don't know. Maybe get a kid. I don't know. Maybe get a kid. I don't know. Maybe get a kid.
draw. Hard to admit that I used to draw. Portraiture in a human form. Doodle of a two-headed unicorn. It was soothing. Moving his arm in a fusion of man-made tools and amused from beyond. Even if it went beautifully wrong, it was tangible truth for a youth to refuse to belong. No-name nuisance. Stools in a bedroom. Booze in a brand new cuneiform. Barely commune with the horde. Got a whole grayscale ungluing his world. Might zone out to the yap of the magpie. Unseen hand dragging his graphite. Cross contour, a little bit of backlight. Black ink after a Bristol to baptize. You can imagine a rush that ensue when you get three dimensions stuffed in a two. Then it's off to a school where it's all you can do. Being trained and observed by a capable few. Back in New York by peeps and a dog in a two-bedroom doing menial jobs. Plus rhyming and stealing and being a clod. Distractions, freedom, a rod. I left some years of giving a light. I left some will the spirit away. I let my fears materialize. I let my skills deteriorate. Haunted by the thought of what I should have been. Continuing a mission that was rooted in a 20-year affinity and rickety condition with an ID crisis. Snap on the front lawn, look up in the sky. It's shapes falling out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. And now we're colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down to count your rings. Just to count your rings. To count your rings. Used to paint. Hard to admit that I used to paint. Natural light on a human face. Stenciled fire in his roommate's face. It was blooming addiction. A miss and a push and a pigment. Book like a tattooed pigskin look. Pinhead kids in a minute. Drank Kool-Aid from a tube of acrylic. And I grew up in a linseed oil everything. Joy to the poison. Voice to the resin. Capture a map of a gesture. Back up, add a little accurate fat to the figure. Redo that, move that inward. Zinc white lightning shoots from his fingers. Studio strewn with illusion and tinctures. Stay tuned for the spooky adventures. You can imagine the stars that align when a forearm starts foreshortening right, or a torso hung on a warping spine in proportion. Reads as warm and alive. Routine day with a dirt cheap brush. Then a week goes by and it goes untouched. Then 2, then 3, then a month, and the rest of your life to beat yourself up. I left some seasons eager to fall. I left some work to bury alive. I let my means of being dissolved. I let my person curl up and die. Eating up his innards and unfeasible anxiety is brutally committed to relinquishing his privacy, aligning with the trials of the anti-Midas. Snap on the back lawn, look up in the sky. It's shapes falling out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. And now we're colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Just to count your rings. Question. If I died in my apartment like a rat in a cage, would the neighbors smell the corpse before the cat ate my face? I used to floss the albatross like daddy came with the chain. I'm trying to jettison the ballast with the hazardous waste. The kid is comfortably numb, routine a tedious crutch. Steep in a self-imposed Stockholm and Lima in flux. Maybe an occupation popular with demons and ducks. Made any mingling akin to being seasoned and stuffed. It's a theater of jumping jellyfish, jealous little sycophants. Miserable and flimsy from the skippies to the pissy pants. Each one separately convinced they're sketching with Da Vinci's hands. Delusion turning communication a prison camp. You fucking dorks ain't a threat to the cause. There ain't a lesson we can learn from the ostensibly law. premises to be truly naive. I know some shit about your heroes that you wouldn't believe. I think we're all a bunch of weirdos on a quest to belong. My song's a echolocation up in impregnable fog. That's why it's odd to see a pile of imperfections and flaws. Send a pedestal to patronize the rest of the cards in a mess of obnoxious fantasy, posturing and pageantry. I ain't even mad, I'm impressed, shit, it's babbling. God almighty, chopping ivory tower to piano keys. Play your own dirge on the way to surfing Maggot Beach. You fucking dorks ain't a source of the art. You can't be cooler than the corners where you source all your parts. The poker face, all it takes a couple sorted remarks. We let the manicore out, we make the sorcery bark. Life is so unfair, party over here, I'll be over there. I view the rattling of sabers like a show to expose insecurities exploding in emotional code. When braggadocio to go from mostly jokey to gross. I wrote a homie till his probity is notably ghost. Before the hobby was a job, he was a miniature help. You would wobble around your mama like an infant gazelle. The disillusionment has truly been a difficult pill. But you was anything menacing as a difficult sell. And a whistle and bellarama. Black Molly's to dress up like piranha. It's not even compelling melodrama. It's a comedy. Somebody when I shop you as a saga. I'm very voluntarily persona non grata. You fucking dorks ain't the leaders we need. This ain't the medium believers out to weasel and breed. I'm off coffee with the paupers over tea with the queen. Don't show the Regency what obedient means. Heavy load to bear. Party over here. I'll be over there.
I think this was his second single dropped off this album.
Yeah, he did this song.
Yeah, Hail Mary. Yeah. I
Or no,
really
that's
like.
Hail Mary. Drop Sonic.
Yeah, they have a song. Pull it up to
Bro.
throw on.
I straight jacked. The Fake Painted Cave started off a song called Solid Gold. Did you
Yeah.
ever listen to that one?
No, I don't.
It's the first one on the SoundCloud. And we're just like, dude, the song's pretty fucking dope. And we really liked the concept of how they were just trying to outdo each other on this
Yeah.
bling. You know? Like I got 5 busts of Albert Einstein, like just the craziest shit. I got Spock's on a plane.
Yeah.
And Solid Gold is like, what's the weirdest gold shit that we could have, like made out of gold? And it was one of these songs where it was kind of like a hook, verse, hook. These real little weird snippets. And that's when we decided to stop doing Stoop Kid and start doing Fake Painted Cave. That
I
song.
see.
And the drums are very similar to the Whales, like so much so that somebody immediately called us out on it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much like Whales." Whales is good though. We're not trying to make Whales. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good video too.
So Fake Painted Caves is the album
And the band.
and the band.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
That's
confused me a
George
little bit.
Burns and Lord Fubar together. And we've done a lot of shit together before, but it was on his production. Fake Painted Cave was saying, okay, let's both of us be in charge of the direction of what we do. And so we get things like Crystal Pinata, where he actually writes the whole song. And I do a verse that he wrote. And then we do things like About It, where I wrote the whole song and he does a verse that he wrote, but I wrote the melodies and everything on that. But we really merge together and do a group project instead of I'm joining on his thing.
Right.
And that started about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
When we decided to do that.
Is that at least Fake Painted Caves or started working on the project?
That's when Solid Gold came out about a year and a half ago. Fake Painted Cave, the self-titled album, came out in March.
Okay.
this year, and we're getting ready to start a new one. But
So you're saying the next one will be Fake Painted Cave, Ice Age?
I just want to see the art for Ice Age
Yeah.
because we're kind of getting into like grills and stuff that's fun to have and playing it a little bit, you know. So like Ice Age, it's got it's too corny to work, but I like corny, so I don't give a fuck. Maybe that'll just be a song name, I don't know. But Ice Age, it's not going to be the name of the album, I can tell you that right now. But I want it to be. If I had a vote.
So are you already working on that project?
Getting ready
Or
to.
Getting ready
I mean,
to.
we just started. He finished the Lord Fubar album, Talisman Punch, a few months ago, and we've done a few things. Dinosaur Hunter, the song that we played, was the most recent thing we did together, and we just decided to go back away from the low-hanging fruit raps. Decided to do something. We're gonna do another narrative like Metropolis and Utopia, which is off that same album, which is basically an RPG. Us and Fro from Tennessee done a few things with Fro as the king, and we go rescue the king and shit. That's Utopia, and that's another one that got a lot of good feedback on YouTube, where we did a narrative style. So we're gonna come back with a pretty big narrative. Really thinking about holding back, putting out the individual tracks each time, and then doing a whole album release at once. And that's gonna be Fake Painted Cave 2, Electric Boogaloo, whatever the fuck it's gonna be called. Yeah. And the video will happen before that, but it will be probably pretty close to the same time.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, if you guys ever want to do a show here at the theater, just contact me. Let me know.
Oh, that'd be great.
Ready.
This would be a great place for that because we don't fill stadiums yet. Everybody's everywhere else. Like we get listeners, but they're not in one place. We got a lot of Malaysia, like one of our guys from Malaysia, and his English is pretty bad, and he comments on every song, and it's fucking great. He just says the weirdest shit. He's the one that ragged on Fubar for being that diss on Fubar for being samurai in that song.
Oh yeah,
like, dude, why are you rapping about being a samurai? I don't know, man. What's wrong with that? I guess.
Shit. Why?
Yeah, you don't want to wear a kimono? I guess not. Probably.
Yeah, the music here theater is start up pretty. One of the things is we're don't have a liquor license to sell all to public,
right?
But if we have private events and we lock the doors, but yeah, that, and we can also have donate, you know, like it's a party, but like these regular shows out to the public, we can't really have booze. But if we ever wanted to do something party, could technically be a private event.
Dude, that'd be fun. Like
burlesque dancers,
like do a podcast on the CD release night, and then do a little intimate show afterwards, and then just party, man. That would be a fun fucking party right there. I would enjoy that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the timeline's going to be for the Electric Boogaloo, but that would be something I'd really enjoy. And the other thing is too with my side projects, like I have a couple mixtapes in the UK grime style that I want to do on my own. Fubar's got 2 brand new babies on his hip and a 1-year-old, and he's about 2 hours away from here, so he's not gonna have a whole lot of time to get around for live performances. So as far as stuff in the upcoming future, definitely do some of my mixtape shit. Would like to do that, and that's gonna be a little more, I would say, suitable for people that haven't heard any Cave before, because I mean, from Stoop Kid to Cave, you would kind of understand the type of shit you're getting yourself into. But with my solo shit, it's going to be easier to follow, I think.
Cool. Well, yeah, just contact me.
We'll do it,
show here. So to wrap this up, do you have? I mean, there's obviously.
No, I mean the music's a big thing, man. Like the video is going to be really exciting. And the more people we can get on our YouTube, Fake Painted Cave YouTube, where we're putting out our promos and our videos, and the more people we can get on our SoundCloud, I think is going to be where we're going to be able to get the most people reached out to.
Well, YouTube, SoundCloud, Fake Painted Cave, check it out. I'm going to be in Greeley on the 5th of September. This might doing the Moxie Theater. Fun.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll be in Texas at the Blind Tiger. I'll be doing some shows. Texas, San Antonio. Yeah, I haven't had any dates after that. So that's the two. If you're in Texas, contact me on Twitter. Nyland _Vigil, NYLAND _VIGIL. Contact me because I need some more. I need to know where the good places to go are.
Local knowledge on the Twitter, man.
Local
That's the way to do it.
Tap it out. Yeah.
Right on, man. Yeah, thanks for having me here. That was a good time.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for doing it.
Money, 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 motherfucker. Money, 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 motherfucker. Money on my motherfucking mind. Cut 5 haircuts at the same time. White gold pants, jet ski, made a wine.
Bust of Albert Einstein.
Money.
Money at my motherfucking mouth. A mansion, a ranch, and a camp in a town. A motherfucking store with the floor made of scalps. Bobby from the block don't got rocks, he got Alps. Get money. Money in a motherfucking jar. Shark fin pastry, summers on Mars. 20 motherfuckers in a levitating car. 747 full of women and cigars. Get money. Money in a motherfucking pot. A castle full of cars and a yard full of yachts. A leopard with a mink and an arm full of clocks. All hand wound every day by a spot. Get money. Money, 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 money.